Hey everyone, it's Jason and Kyle here again, doing some Game of Thrones card game review. The new pack, the Red Wedding. It's the fourth pack in the Blood and Gold, I believe, Blood and Gold cycle. So we're just going to run right through it today and kind of tell you what we think of these cards. So let's put this guy off to the side. Make sure my phone is off the table so it doesn't vibrate and be like, okay, so the first card in here is Daisy Mormont. So Daisy Mormont is a 4-cost character with a military and a power icon. She has X strength. She is unique and loyal. She does have the House Mormont trait, so that's more what we were talking about last time. There's not a lot of Mormonts, but there's going to be soon, or there's coming out to be. As renowned, and X is the number of start characters you control. So, think about that.
Yeah, obviously you build a deck with a lot of low-cost Starkies. Starkies. I'm going to go with. I mean, that's, obviously the only way you're going to use this card. Probably.
Yeah, and there's some pretty cool stuff you can do with the card later in the pack called, for like Breaker of Chains, I think, that you could put some like free units into play every time and make it higher strength. But I like any card. I mean, most of the time people are impressed with any card that just has Renown. Like a 4-cost Renown card is pretty good because it can just hold strength on it. And then, it's giving itself 1 strength, which is terrible for a 4-cost, but if you have any more characters out there, it's going to be pretty nice, dupable, so easy to save the Renown on there if you have it, and very Stark-like because it has the military power icons. So, she's a pretty cool card. I think pretty solid. I don't know necessarily what deck she'd go in, but I like that she has the House Mormont trait to fit in with that other Mormont stuff. The next one is a design card by a world champ, North America champion. Or I guess not a world champ, but. What you got here is a 2-cost location called Winterfell Archery Range. It's unique, it's non-loyal, and it's got the Winterfell trait like almost every single location in what Stark does. As an action, during a military challenge, you kneel Winterfell Archery Range to choose a participating character with strength 3 or lower and remove it from the challenge. And again, it was designed by the 2015 Melee North American champion, Brian Aurelio. So that's Melee, that's a totally different format than we usually play. So I actually want to play more Melee, but I haven't. I think that card's cool.
I mean, it's a location, right? So it's you get it out once, it doesn't cost a lot, and then you can sit there and take people out of your the challenges.
Yeah, and then you can actually make it's kind of like so 1, 2, or 3 strength reducer. It makes it so you have the ability to win military challenges more often, which means you're kind of churning your opponent's characters, and it's one of those cards you put out kind of like raiding ships where you don't really have to ever use it. Right. You just kind of have it there in case they need to do it. So I don't know. I like it. I think it's cool, but only one at a time since it's unique. So that's all the start cards. So we're going to move on to Tyrell. We have Old Town Informer. This card's kind of interesting. It's a 2-cost character with intrigue icon. It's loyal and it's got 2 strength. It's an ally and a spy, so watch out any cards that destroy allies. This card can be targeted by that. It's an ambush and bestow, so it's got 2 keywords, each at different values. Ambush 2, bestow 3. And this pack, I think, if you notice, Jason has a ton of bestow cards in it. Like they're kind of rounding out the cycle, I guess, or just they're like, maybe we should put more bestow. So they just kind of kept doing it. At least I think almost every faction has a bestow card besides Night's Watch. So. Its reaction is after a card enters play during their challenge phase, draw X cards, then discard X cards, where X is the number of gold on Old Town Informer. So,
I mean, it's a good cycle. Like you don't have good stuff in your hand, so you can get drawn, get rid of stuff to do it.
And that'd be cool if you had enough. I mean, with Mark or Tyrell, you're gonna have money, so you might be able to draw another ambush card. You can ambush again, or some kind of really good challenge event that they could do, or like growing strong or anything like that. That can just buff strength. So this thing can actually be like a 4 strength intrigue instead of 2 if you draw the right cards from the ability. So it seems okay. Like I think Martell's kind of, or Tyrell's. I keep saying that every time. Tyrell's kind of flooded with intrigue, so I don't know if it has a really spot, but it could be cool. All right, the next one we got is Arbor Vineyard. This is like the staple location from this pack for like all of the this cycle, which is like do something with 1, and then if you do something else, if you have some other criteria, you get 2 for that value, so you get 2 gold instead. And this is a 2-cost location that is loyal. All these are loyal. It's house red wine, so if that trait matters, keep it in mind. It is limited, but it says kneel Arbor Vineyard and is a marshalling action to gain 1 gold. 2 gold instead if there are more summer plots than winter plots revealed. So
yeah, I feel like, I guess with that, the chances of that actually happening are right. So like if you play a summer and your opponent plays a winter, you're not getting it.
But you still get 1. It's just you're not getting 2.
But like I guess the
Some of the other ones.
No, what's the other mode? Where you play with more than 2 players?
Melee. Yeah, so in melee it could be.
So there, like, you have, I think, more options for that to happen, right? But
yeah, I do. I think so. I mean, but think about how there's decks out there that just bank on the fact that there's summer plots revealed at all. Like your rush deck that you played did.
Yeah.
And even if you did put a winner, it's just 1 turn, right? So getting 1 gold a turn, I think, is still good. It's a little bit cheaper than some of the other locations that Tyrell has, so maybe you see it in play, but. And they were inclined to play summer anyway, so I think.
And I guess you'd still get it if they did a regular, not one that wasn't summer or winter.
You would. So I don't know. I don't see it as being terrible, but I don't know if it gets over. Then they're over like the Arbor and the other stuff that you need, like Bitter Bridge, if you're playing that style.
I feel like the other cards like this and the other factions were
a little more doable. Yeah. All right, we're diving right into Night's Watch. So Night's Watch's first character is the unique Othel Warwick Yarwyck. He's a loyal character, and he's got an intrigue and a power icon with 5 strength, and he's a builder type, so that's kind of cool. Builders are good in Night's Watch, so you can do lots of stuff with builders. As an action, you can kneel a Night's Watch location to choose a character until the end of that phase. That character gains a challenge icon of your choice. So. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Nice and flexible, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you know you can do it, there's some interesting locations you could kneel for this if you needed to in Night's Watch, and I think it's pretty sweet. That could be cool to just give them an intrigue right off the bat. This could really help Night's Watch with more intrigue icons. I think you just have to pay the 6 to get them out, which could be kind of tough, but there's ways to do that with builders now. So
yeah.
He could be pretty sweet. I think there's probably a deck that would like a 1 over 2 of him in it. This next one I'm actually kind of excited about. So you could do like this has got a lot of potential. So it's a 0-cost attachment called Improved Fortification. So it has a fortification subtype. It's location only. And it says when attached location would leave play, sacrifice Improved Fortifications to save it. It says Castle. So Castle Black had a wall of swords at last, which is a kind of funny text. But I mean. This isn't loyal, so you can play it in any deck,
right? As
long as you're bannering Night's Watch or you're like doing Alliance, right?
Yeah, and saving. And plus, I mean, Night's Watch also has some key locations, right? Like that you don't want to go away because they're kind of key to them.
Yeah, exactly. So if someone were to blow it up or something, so it doesn't work if you're using. You can't sack Iron Mines and then sack this instead because sacking is a cost, and I don't think you can save that way. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong because that would be pretty cool. But usually when you're paying costs, you can't stop the payment of the cost and then still have the effect go. Is what I'm saying. So there is a little bit of a stopgap there, but there's some seriously good locations that you can do with Bara and especially if you did this on the Arbor or something like that, that'd be pretty cool. But it really is dependent on a meta where the location destruction is a big deal, right? So, all right, we're moving right into Baratheon here. Baratheon's first card is the unique Sir Axel Florent, a 4-cost character with a military and a power icon, 4 strength, and it's not loyal, so you can put it in other decks if you ban her. It's House Florent, and he's a knight, so keep that in mind because there's a lot of cards that care about knights and doing special stuff with knights. He's got Bestow 3, and his reaction is after you win a challenge in which Sir Axel Florent is participating, discard 1 gold from him to choose and kneel a character without attachments. So that could be cool.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously you're going to do it on a different, somebody that'd be big in a different type of challenge, right? Because you have to win this challenge to the one that you're in to get it, but
Yeah, you just have to make sure he doesn't have attachments. That's one of those little characters that are just hard to do, but I like him. I mean, you can do it 3 times, and he's still a 4 strength, 4 cost. So I mean, if you don't want,
he's no slouch just on his own.
And with some of the new cards, you can actually bestow. You can put gold from them from your pool into bestow. So
you can kind of keep fueling it.
Yeah, I definitely think the downside is without attachments. So if they had they could flash out a widow Widow's Wail or some kind of like ambush weapon, then you're like, well, I can't do that this round, I guess. Now, okay, the next one is, this is kind of the staple event we've been seeing throughout this whole pack too, is like the do something as a challenge action, then after you do something, you can pay money to get it back in your hand. So this one's called Saving the Kingdom. It's a 2-cost loyal event for Baratheon. As a challenge action, you choose and kneel a character with strength 3 or lower. That character cannot stand during the standing phase of this round. After you win dominance, as a reaction, you can pay 1 gold to return Saving the Kingdom from your discard pile to your hand. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you take him out, I guess, for
a whole turn, yeah. And after you win, so like you take this guy out, he's no longer contributing to dominance, right? Then you can then get this card back because you're winning dominance and in the dominance phase. So this works well with like something that gives you gold during dominance too. Because like you could have like that attachment last time that's like stand a character and then give it gold on the dominance phase, and you'd have one to pay for this. So like I think there's some pretty serious like engine stuff you could build around this card where you're like always going to be able to kneel a 3-cost character every time. So you're like opponent is just stuck with like a kind of investment they can never use.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right, we got our first Lannister card here, Sir Osmond Kettle. As a 4-cost character with a military and a power icon. I've seen a lot of those. He's a 3 strength, and he's non-loyal. He's a Kingsguard and a Knight, so that's kind of, those are 2 keywords that can matter here in the next few sets. Bestow 3, and discard 1 gold from Sir Osmond Kettle as a challenge action to put a Knight character into play from your hand at the end of the phase. If that card's still in play, discard it. It cannot be saved, and you can only do that once per phase. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that because you can basically surprise, like, you know, you can win a challenge that maybe it doesn't look like you're going to win. Yeah, you lose the card, right? But that card was free to get out. You lose it at the end, so it's gone. But I mean, there's ways to get people back too.
Yeah, and it's only discarded too, so they're not killed. Dead. So you can do this with like unique characters. So it just kind of pushes farther into that whole like jumping lines archetype, which is like, you know, put out a huge like Knight or Lannister card, and then like at the end of the phase it comes back to your hand or it gets killed or something, but you save it beforehand. So just plays way more into that whole jumping lines thing, and I think he's pretty cool. But 7 costs to get him to do this 3 times could be a little much.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any of the stuff that lets you reduce him. He is unique, but he doesn't. So the problem with this card and some of the other cards we're seeing for like the bestow cost is that they don't cost high enough that sometimes some of the more expensive, like the Great Hall and stuff like that, can hit them. I think maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but so like they're only costing 7 after you play them, so you can't use things to like cheapen them that much.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you have the reducers that can make it 2, and then it would be 5, which is a lot more reasonable. But yeah, I think that could be some really cool stuff you do with the Kettle Black. All right, here's our I think one of our last of these types of events. The Time Wind Strategy is another one of those kind of challenge action and then get it back later for something. It's unique, or it's loyal, and it costs 2. It says, as a challenge action, choose a character with printed cost 2 or lower controlled by each player. Return each of those characters to its owner's hand. And then after a character is discarded from an opponent's hand or deck, pay 1 gold to return Time Wind Strategy from your discard pile to your hand. So, I don't know if I like this one.
Yeah, I'm like looking at it. I mean, maybe there's somewhere not thinking about it, right? But
choose a character with 2 costs or lower is like maybe trying to hit some of the low cost bestow stuff. Yeah. But I don't know. 2 costs or lower is like really rare. I mean, there's 1 card in this entire pack that costs 2 or lower, I think. The Old Town Informant you could hit with it. But it's just like not a lot of. I can't think of a lot of stuff off the top of my head in like the game that like you'd play.
I mean, you have a lot. Like, there are cheap units.
Sure,
right?
but you could just
like.
Mostly
why do you want to get rid of? I mean, I guess it's like if something's really close, but you're getting rid of your person too. So, I guess if you're getting one that's not in the challenge,
you get to choose, and it is a challenge. That's true. It is a challenge action. So if you wanted to do it and pop them back like mid-challenge, you get to do that. So that can affect the numbers. So that could be cool.
I think there's situations, but I don't think it's like.
And it is an event.
I have to have it.
Yeah, it's an event in Lannister, which means you get a lot of. You can usually always play events in the challenge phase in Lannister, even with no gold, and or using all your gold in marshalling. Because I mean, Tyrion would give you enough gold to play this, I think. But yeah, so it could be kind of cool in its own kind of deck, but I don't know. It's not as strong as I think some of the other ones are. I'm really excited about this card. This card's kind of cool. But I'm a sucker for Greyjoy. So, 4-cost character with a military and a power icon, 4 strength, and it's called Silence His Crew and is non-loyal. It's a raider subtype. It's got bestow 3 and it's got no attachments, but it gets pillage, which is kind of cool. It plays into a lot of the Greyjoy pillage stuff. Silence His Crew gets +2 strength for each gold it has. So it could be if you pay 7 for it, it would be at 610 strength right off the bat.
Yeah.
So 10 strength in a military or intrigue is nothing to like joke at at all. Like, it's a 4 cost, so it's kind of safe from for snow winter. So you can't. It's like harder to bounce back unless it's the only card you played. And it says after Silence's crew discards a location or attachment using pillage, place 1 gold from the treasury on Silence's crew. So that's
so
cool.
it like keeps fueling it.
Yeah. So like it's gonna pillage. It just has to discard a location or attachment. And that might be rarer than you think, but it's still getting you extra value for just doing what this card's already doing. I can see. I want to build a cool Raider deck now with this stuff.
I think this would be neat to put.
And then a card that plays right into that is Plunder, the 0 cost event, non-loyal. It says action, kneel your faction card, choose an opponent, and gain 1 gold for each location or attachment in that player's discard pile. That's cool in Greyjoy because that's something you really want to be able to do is get money.
Yeah.
Especially in the rush decks I play. Like if you put a few pillage cards in there or just, kind of start destroying some attachments and stuff, you could get some serious money and it costs 0 and it's an action. So play it anytime.
I like that too.
I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of Plunder. It's a lot better than I think there's another card that kind of does something similar to that, but in Greyjoy. But okay, now we're into Targaryen. We have one of the cool characters in the book series, Strong Belwas. It's a 3-cost character, military icon, and 4 strength. So 3 for 4 is pretty good, even if it is just military. It's bestow 2, so it's a 5 for 4 with a military, which then comes into the realm of like, why would I pay that? But interrupt, when another unique Targaryen character would be killed, discard 1 gold from Strong Belwas to save it, limit once per phase.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Like that'll help with Valar.
Yeah.
I think.
Save a couple characters.
Yeah.
And then if you can get stuff back on it, then more. But
that'd be cool. I think 3 for 4 is a pretty solid include. I mean, 3. That's a good military blocker at the very least, right?
Yeah.
And then with reducers, it could be 2 for 4, and then you can pay 2 and get kind of the same value. I think a lot of people were really excited about Strong Belwas because he saves in Targaryen, which is harder to do. So, in Targaryen decks right now are just like rushing to just wipe the field. So that's a pretty cool effect, I think. This was the card I was talking about earlier. It's called Breaker of Chains. It's a 2-cost attachment with a Targaryen trait, obviously. It's a title. It can only be placed on a unique Targaryen character. And it says attached character gets +1 strength for each character you control with printed cost 2 or lower. So after attached character is declared as an attacker, put a character with printed cost 2 or lower from your hand into play. So if you ran like Targaryen Stark with Daisy, you could actually have, or Darcy or whatever her name was, you could have this out on somebody, and then you could attack with this guy, put out a Stark character that costs 2 or lower, and then have both of them getting buffs from that.
Right.
So I'm a fan. It seems like it could be cool. It's just very deck specific. I mean, you'd have the right deck for this to work.
Yeah. Well, I was just trying to think about that Lannister one, right? So, I mean, if you did,
you'd have to do Lannister, Banner, Targ, yeah.
Right. Yeah. But then you'd be more likely to have a bunch of 2s, right?
Yeah.
So,
and that could be the counter there, is that it's in the same pack as that one, so that's a good way to fight against it. But I think there's a pretty cool deck archetype there that could be built. We got our first Martell card, actual Martell, not me saying Tyrell wrong. 4-cost character. It's non-loyal, but it is unique. Intrigue and power icons with 4 strength. It is Ilaria Sand. Is a bastard and a companion. So you can bestow 3. It says after you lose a challenge in which Ilaria Sand is participating, discard 1 gold from her stand each bastard character you control. So that's kind of cool. I mean, you could like banner into to Baratheon and have a bunch of bastards out there. I mean, there's a lot of bastards in the Martell anyway.
Yeah.
And it only costs like maybe 5 to 7 to get that going, and she stands herself too, which is kind of cool. So 4 strength, intrigue, and power that stands themselves if you have gold on it. I think everything's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's something on purpose. I mean, you make a bastard heavy deck. And to reference a Primus.
It's the only time on YouTube we get to say bastard so much without it being a R-rated video, I guess. But I think it fits well inside of the whole idea. Like, I'm gonna let you go first. I'm Martell, so I'm reacting. You go, and then I block, and I stand everything. Right. So, yeah, that could be cool. This one is kind of interesting. It fits in really well with the archetype of cards that are inside of Martell. It's a 1-cost event called Secret Schemes, and it's loyal. It says kneel your faction card to draw X cards, and X is the number of plot cards in your use pile. So these are awesome. Like, there's a card that gives you gold like this, there's a card that gives you power, and there's a card now that gives you cards. So, I mean, how many times are you like, I could be doing really well after this Valar if I had cards.
I had some cards.
Yeah, so.
And the Valar is going to come late, so you're going to have a lot of plot cards to get a lot of cards. So,
yeah,
for sure, that's good.
I think it's pretty cool, and it fits pretty well in most Martell decks. Now we're into the neutral stuff. The first card we have is the Key of the Frays. Walder Frey, 6-cost character. He's a Tricon, which is sweet, but he's only 3 strength, so kind of in range of Decarius, so be careful about that. He does have Renown as well, which is sweet. So base 6, 3 icons, 3 strength, and Renown is really good. It's got House Frey, and he's a Lord, so you could reduce him with Noble Cause, which is pretty sweet. And it says, while Walder Frey is attacking, each other House Frey character you control is considered to be attacking. So...
that's cool. So, and they're not in the challenge, so you can use them for other stuff,
which is sweet.
Yeah, that is.
I'm a fan, and I think there's some decks out there that I've looked at. I really wanted to build this Frey deck for a while because it looks fun, but because of all of the cards that we're about to see inside of here, this card is like I think a 3 of in that because you have to have you need to have something like this that can just stack power, and you just protect it and. Yeah, that's that. I mean, you do your thing. Walder Frey is pretty cool in the right deck. Is our first other Frey card. It's another Bastard. It's from House Frey. It's called Fray Bastard. So it's a 2-cost character with an intrigue or empower icon. It's got a 1 strength, and it's bestow 2. After a reaction, after you win a challenge in which you control 2 or more attacking House Frey characters, discard 1 gold to gain 1 power for your faction. So you just let it sit there. It doesn't even have to participate. You just have to have 2 or more attacking, and so with Walder Frey, they're considered to be attacking. So
you're likely to get it, so you get your gold and you pay your gold and get your power.
Frey rush on steroids because Walder Frey is going to get renowned and win a challenge, right? Then you have Fray Bastard being if you pay 4, you're going to be able to get 2 more power throughout the previous turns or 1 more power. Mm-hmm. Then you have the other cards that let you move power around and rush, like Lord of the Crossing and some of the other locations that we saw from Fray.
Yeah. So
there's some pretty cool rush stuff. It's finally coming out, so fits pretty well in there. I think it's like you put 3 of these in because it's a 2-cost. It's a chud at the very least, right? This is a very intimidating card, Fray Hospitality. So it's pretty brutal. 3-cost event, and you don't know what the Red Wedding is, do you?
Sort of.
Okay. We won't spoil it in case you haven't seen it or whatever. You should, but we won't. But
I'm just looking at
how brutal it is.
No, the 20.
Yeah. So
having to have that much of a win.
So it says after you win a challenge in which you control an attacking House Frey character, if it was the 3rd challenge you initiated this phase, choose and kill a character controlled by the losing opponent. Kill 3 characters instead if you won by 20 strength or more. So this is a thing that people already do though. So in some decks that were out before is they would have the Red Viper who gets more power for every 5 strength he has on him. And they get him up to 30 with a bunch of cards and stuff like that, right? So not him, but the whole challenge up to 30. And so that could be sweet. I mean, think about it. So if Balon is attacking, so the way that the Greyjoy Rush works is on Lord of the Crossing 3, he gets +2 strength. Nobody can block him, nobody can participate as a defender if they have lower strength than he does. So at 7 strength, nobody can participate, which means that you already have 7. If you do Walder, you have 3 more. That's 10 already for 2 characters. If you're attacking with Walder, you attack with all the other House Freys, and you're almost already at 20, depending on what you have. So it could be possible if you have it in the right scenario. But this is one of those cards. It costs 3 for a reason. So you probably don't really play this for 3 unless you really need to kill someone. But you really want to maybe have a 1 or 2 of if you're running the right deck to just kill off wipe a board real quick.
Yeah.
For 3 characters. So. I mean, it does seem kind of expensive, but I think used correctly, it could be really powerful. The final card we have is our plot from this pack. It's called the Red Wedding. And the Red Wedding is a 4 income, 0 claim, 0 initiative, and a 4 reserve with a plot deck limit of 1. It does have House Frey in its scheme, so you could get this out with a Reigns of Castamere in mid-turn after you do some stuff, which could be cool. So you can pull this out with Reigns after your opponent's already gone. They won't get the effects. But it says, when you win a challenge as an attacking player, choose and kill a Lord or Lady character controlled by the losing opponent. You any player may initiate this.
Yeah, I guess that's the risk, right? If you lose, then you're getting a character.
Well, no, you have to be attacking. So it's like you can't lose on defense. You can't lose a character in defense because your opponent's not. I'm sorry, your opponent doesn't get to kill one of your characters if you're attacking. Only you get to kill a character before you're attacking. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Or are you just saying the whole challenge phase?
Well, it says any player may initiate it, so I would think that.
Yeah, so what I was trying to say earlier is that like you can get this out for free using because it's a scheme using Reigns of Castamere. Then you can you can do that after your opponent's already gone in the challenge phase, so that way they can't get it. But yes, if you did play this normally, they would be able to kill your guys if they went first or something.
Yeah.
So it could be cool, I think, but the 0 claim means that you're not doing anything else.
Right.
It means that you have to win 3 challenges to kill 3 characters, right? And so 0 initiative means you're probably going to go second if you can do it. So I think it's very situational, but it could be pretty fun if you got a plan. So I don't know if I have a plan, but if you do have one, I'd like to see it. So thanks for watching. Come down and play card games with us on Saturdays and Tuesdays. We're doing lots of store champs and stuff this month, so keep an eye on our calendar for that. We just got our Q3 kits, right? So we'll have a ton of stuff going on for Q3. I don't know that we do much Game of Thrones here, but we do a lot of other things here. So keep that in mind. Become a Collector Maniac to get free stuff, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.